Here's integrated 3. This is problem 11-74. It wants us to put the equation into graphing form and then graph it. So this is graphing form, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So we need to complete the square. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And then there's two ways to do this. You can either divide out the coefficient of x squared, which is what you guys did last year, or you can factor it out. So on problem A, I'm going to divide. And then on letter B, I'm going to factor it out because I see that your homework help shows you how to do it by factoring. So I'll do it both ways. So this one, I just divide everything by 2. And then I end up with all these fractions. And then I want to find the number that completes the square. So the coefficient of x is 7/2. So I want to take half of 7/2 and square that. So half of 7/2 is 7/4. When I square it, I get 49/16. So then I can just add 49/16 to both sides of the equation. And then what I did is I just pulled this fraction apart. I called it y over 2 plus 7 over 2. That way I can add the 7 over 2 plus 49 over 16. I had to get a common denominator for that. And I showed all my work. It turned out to be 105 over 16. On the right-hand side, I just put my quadratic into factored form. You can use a diamond problem for this, like an area model box if you need to, but basically you just take half of the coefficient of x, and that's what goes inside the parentheses. So half of 7/2 is 7/4. And then to get it into graphing form, I had to subtract 105/16 on both sides, and then I had to multiply both sides by 2. And when I multiplied this by 2, I canceled out the 16 and turned it into an 8. Okay, so then, so now it's in graphing form, and I need to graph it. So I'm going to use h and k for my vertex. So -7/4 and 105/8, or -105/8. And I used my calculator to figure out what those are as decimals. And then I had to scale my graph. So I'm counting by 5s on the y-axis. And then I see that my stretch factor is 2. So it's going to be like a kind of a narrow parabola. So I just plugged in 0 for x just to I just got my y-intercept. And then I just made another point exactly across from it to show symmetry. And then it wanted the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is x equals -1.75, which is the same as -4. It's just this dotted line. And then the vertex is just h comma k. Okay, running out of time. Next video, or next problem, 11-74b. We have to do the same exact thing. This time I'm going to show you how to do it by factoring. So instead of dividing, so I added 8 to both sides, and instead of dividing everything by 3, I factored out a 3. So I had to give the x term a coefficient of 1/3, because 3 times 1/3 gives me 1x. So when you do this, there's some advantages and disadvantages to it. The advantage is I don't have a mess over here on the left-hand side, but the disadvantage is you got to be careful. So when I complete the square, I'm going to take half of 1/3 and square it and add that to both sides. So I end up adding, okay, I'm going to make a second video for letter B because I'm running out of time.